welcome to Jewel in the Crown. I'm Peter Hodgkin and you're listening to Football Brisbane's top rating, award-winning, well, I think we've won an award.
I'd like to hear if we did.
Greg, Jewel in the Crown.
Welcome.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. We had a nice little win on the weekend.
Well, some leagues. I heard in other leagues a certain blue club from the south was victorious.
That's true. That is true.
Yes,
so
it is.
We're not going to talk about those.
No,
we did host Annalee for
the B League,
at least the B League and
the Div 3s.
So yes, the blue side of town came over, played the yellow side of town. So it was good. Danny was playing in Div 3.
Danny,
the Annalee.
Oh, Danny Brady. Yep.
Yep. So
yes.
We say hello.
Yes.
So that was good.
Catch up. But we're here to talk, about elite women's football in Brisbane, which means the SEQ WPL, which I will just call the Q League.
But not just Brisbane. It is the South East Queensland. That's
yes.
what the SEQ stands for, right. Greg. Okay.
But let's
Dr. Greg.
Let's just call it the Q League.
Okay, let's call it Q League. Results from the weekend. First round.
So
everyone was sort of eagerly waiting to see what the scores were.
Very eager. And it took a while for some of them to come in. I'll get onto that later.
First game of the South East Queensland Premier League fell to Palm Beach, hosting Annalee. And Palm Beach were victorious 5-0, 3-0 at half-time. We don't know who scored because Palmy haven't put the scorers in.
No, so it says they have 11 on the sheet, but...
Who knows?
That could have been done beforehand or anything.
And what's the story with Annalee taking 11 players on an away trip?
Well, I'm not sure, and of course...
That's rolling the dice.
It is, and guess what happened? In 10 minutes, Kate Deegan's come down and broken her collarbone, so she's out for 6 weeks.
So bad luck for Kate.
Bad luck for Kate, not good news. Quality player too. Never, it's always the way. The first game of the season, somehow people always get injured. I've done it myself. I've done my ACL twice, first game of the season. And so, down to 10 players, and then another player, Laura Blue, started hobbling and not very well, so down to 9 for the half. Luckily, a Div 3 player, Kim Morgan, was watching and was coaxed, convinced, probably, bribed, paid to put on a kit.
Was that before or after Palm Beach were 3 up?
I assume just at half time. Look,
and well, they were up 3 up.
Yeah, we know we need a player. Put a kit on, get out there. And she did her best. And I heard, and this may be a rumour, but I heard from Gervais that, Annalee hit the post with a Div 3 player.
They hit the post with a Div 3 player.
That's what I heard.
That's your thing, isn't it?
It's just maybe an Annalee thing.
Yeah, maybe an Annalee thing.
So
Palm Beach off to a great start. Annalee not so good.
No, not good news. Kate's out for a while. I'm not sure about Laura. They're lucky this week. The team below them, the B League, is not playing, so they can call on those players. But why take 11 to the first game?
Yeah, it's a strange decision, I must admit.
Backfired. I hope they can turn it around.
Well, good luck to them this week.
Hopefully. Next game.
Western Pride was supposed to play Olympic at the TBA field.
We joked about this last week, didn't we? We said, TBA Oval, TBA Park.
We don't know where it is.
Well, like all good jokes, it's a bit too close to the bone. And eventually there was no field found. And this game has now been postponed.
Yeah, to the 3rd of May, but it's still going to be played at TBA. So I hope they can sort that out before the 3rd of May.
That's just not a good look. This is the top women's competition, and what went wrong?
It's a bit disappointing, really.
It is.
Let's talk about the next one.
Okay, Mitchelton won, defeated a 3-person Southwest Queensland Thunder. There was only 3 on their team sheet, so I'm expecting...
Yeah, those 3 were pretty good, though.
Obviously, they did well.
1-0 to Mitchie, so a good start for our girls. Tamale Gilmot up the division, scored in the 40th minute.
Okay.
You can't find that out on Sporting Pulse.
No, unfortunately.
So it was a nice goal just before half-time. Went in at the break, 1 up. Thunder tried to get it back. They're a pretty good outfit as well. So it was a good, entertaining game. There's a big crowd there. So the club was pretty happy that the beer sales were up, the food sales were up, and it was a very good atmosphere. We were very pleased.
Oh, that's good. That's the way you want to start a season.
We had, obviously the B League played before us. Div 5 also played before us. There was men's games on other fields as well. So there was a big crowd there. And after the game, we all went in, had something to eat, and the Thunder girls and our girls. And then some of the boys come in. So
what are the Thunder team like? Tell us.
They're young, basically out of the NPL structure, probably. A few Raiders girls, I think.
Yeah, I noticed that the 3 that were on the website were Abby Lloyd. Everyone earmarked Abby Lloyd as quality player last year. Jordan Franke and one other name I can't remember now. Yeah.
The standout player for South West Queensland Thunder is number 7, Talitha Doro.
Okay.
Young girl, young kid, plays in the centre of midfield. And to give you an idea of the quality, she matched it with Emma Pittman all night long.
Oh,
so
impressive.
she's at that level already. So very, very good player. I went and had a quick word to her after the game, but she's a real talent.
Oh, that's
she's going to
good
cause some problems around the ground. So Thunder, we're, I don't know, in a sense lucky we played them early before they really get gelled up together. But I think they'll do pretty well.
Good. Well,
Very similar to Palm Beach was,
this time last year.
Yeah. So I think they'll cause some damage.
Okay. Well, that's interesting news. The next game, the Gap took on East, match of the round, 5-1 win to the Gap.
3-0 at half time. I did speak to Jeff quickly, and he said the Gap midfield just blitzed them.
Yeah.
He said they just couldn't keep up with them. So that was the real difference to him. So they got back into it in the second half, but 3-0 at half time, the game was pretty gone. Against the Gap outfit, it's pretty quality. So
that's right.
So Leah Curtis got 2, Megan Price 1, and Ruth Blackburn 1.
And then it was an own goal for the last one there. And a couple of yellow cards in this game, though.
Yeah, Laura Harris scored for East. I did have a little sneaky look at the teams from last year's game. So the Gap grand final team and the East semi-final team. Both teams have got 8 changes from those squads.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't seem like it when you look at them, but 8. That's out of the 14 or 15 that were named.
8 per team. Sorry.
Yeah, so 8 changes to the Gap, 8 changes to East. So.
Yeah, but I mean, most of those names, I saw the Gap. A lot of those names have been in their Sapphire League. So Fatima Flores, for example, was playing. So and she's been at the Gap for years.
And obviously some of the, I'm not saying the 8 players that left, I'm just saying the 8 player differences. And I know that some of those players for the Gap might be injured or not ready to come back yet. So, but just simply 8 changes.
Okay.
For East, Jess Dillon's back from Perth, so she was on the pitch. Looking at the Gap lineup, obviously they're missing Hannah Beard and obviously Emma Pittman. Carla Panetta's gone to East, basically playing the field. And Pam Bignall and Sarah Thomas both retired. So
still, you wouldn't notice. I mean, 5.
What's scary is they just kept going.
Yeah.
Even though they had 8 changes. So
what's that? How many games undefeated? We'll have to I'll get the stat back for you next week.
A couple of young girls coming into that side, Sophie Boller and Charlie McClellan from NPL.
And one, it was an injury to Kyra Dorin, was it, for East? Did she play in that game? No.
Yeah, not sure.
Okay.
Okay.
But she is injured anyway. I hope everyone who is injured get better soon. Next game, Sunshine Coast 2 at 10 a.m. took on Taringa 1. Goals to Samara Christmas and Kirsty Clifford from Sunshine Coast, and for Taringa, Jessica Marchant, who was playing in their Div 3 team last year. Quite a few players from Taringa playing in Div 3 last year. Jessica Marchant, Natalie and Vanessa Gutierrez and Olivia Ernst were all in Div 3. Now, they played Sapphire the year before last year, so they went Sapphire, Div 3, and then they've come back up to the top.
But Ernst was playing goals, wasn't she?
She's the goalkeeper.
Because Danny Hobart is out for a
couple of weeks.
Yeah, so could understand that. I did speak to Kelvin, the coach at Taringa. 2-0 at half time. Sunny Coast went down to 10 after half time.
Red card,
Red card,
2
penalty.
I can't remember who it took it, sorry.
Yeah, penalty, but they didn't score that. They missed that penalty, and they scored their goal about 10 minutes later. So it could have been different.
Could have been different, yeah. Well, none of those Sunshine Coast players played in the Diamond League from 2 years ago, who were 3rd overall, I think. So it's interesting.
Described as very much NPL kids coming in to the senior system, similar to Palm Beach and Southwest Queensland Thunder. What was interesting was that it was played at 10 a.m. on a Sunday morning, but it was also played on one of the backfields that had rugby posts sticking on top of the soccer posts or
rugby posts.
Rugby posts.
The ones that go straight up.
Straight up.
Yeah, the flag waving thing. Yeah.
You know, where you've got that other shaped ball and
you
put it over the line and that type of thing. So that was, I think it's a little bit ordinary to put the top league women's football on a field like that.
It becomes part of the field, as far as I know. If it hits those poles and bounces back into play, it's still in play. So
a corner comes in, you go up for a header, don't quite get it on target, hits the bit sticking up and bounces back in, hits your hand, penalty, when it would have, on a normal field, gone out for a goal kick or something. So,
well, that's, UQ
anyway,
took on Peninsula Power. UQ were winners 1-0 to open their account. Big changes there at Power.
there are a lot of changes at Power. I haven't really had a really good look at the Power side yet.
Mm-hmm.
Just waiting to see how they went. I was a little bit surprised that UQ got over the top of them early.
Yeah.
Guess who I got a match report from?
Who?
Otter.
Oh, thanks, Otter.
Otter isn't coaching at UQ this year. The coach is Wayne Gibbons.
Right.
Or Wayne Gibbon, sorry, there's only one of him.
Okay.
But Otter's helping out and very kindly sent me in a report on the game.
Well, let's hear it.
So, effectively, UQ, he said, played all over them in the first half, and the second half really belonged more to Power. Fitness, probably a little bit of experience. For UQ, I think I've got this right. Aoi Matsusaki is their Japanese player who can't speak English. So they have little signs at training to tell her what to do, apparently.
I'm sure she can speak English pretty well.
And she doesn't know much English, apparently. Well, she's probably learning
very
a
quickly.
few words from UQ. Leonard Johansson is their keeper, ex-Melbourne Victory player, squad player.
Right.
So they've enticed her up. So I'm not sure if the uni's enticed her up to study or the football team's enticed her up because we did hear they had a
Open
big
the
award.
war chest, yeah.
So that's a quality keeper.
Yeah,
in
definitely.
there. So Leonard is how you pronounce her name. And she played semi-pro in Denmark and England.
Oh, nice.
So
Must be
quality on
nice
there.
to get these people just
And
wander
of course,
through.
George Chapman's there as well, ex-Raw.
Yep. Emma Clues from Ipswich Knights
Yep.
is playing at UQ.
So they've got a good side now.
They will. Power are missing a few big names who've been staples. Melissa Furiel, sorry, she's no longer playing. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
I heard that she'd retired.
Oh, I thought she had years left in her. Really, she was was she the Golden Boot in the end last year?
Yes, she was.
Yeah. Also Nat Brown, Chelsea Martin, Claire Glover, and their keeper Tegan McKee, who I thought did some good work
She
last
was
year.
from Caboolture.
Yeah.
So she might be back up there.
It's interesting that that's a big core of players who have moved on or aren't playing or whatever. But the players that are coming in have all played in their Sapphire League last year and stepped up. So
And they've got
some of the
kids
younger
coming
players,
out of there.
Jayla Patton and
Yeah, they've got kids coming
Yasmin
out of there under
Mukadum, I
ratings as
believe.
well.
Mm.
And they've got girls coming back from different NPL
Yeah,
programs
that's right.
as well. So
yeah,
So-
they'll move along.
they'll do all right.
And the final game for the weekend, South took on Redlands and lost 4-0.
Not a surprise that Redlands won that game.
No,
What was surprising, it was 0-0 at half time.
that is a surprise. I didn't notice that, sorry.
So I think that might have been Redlands not quite. We know they started late because Ray, our previous coach, wasn't there. So I've got a feeling it took them 45 minutes to get organised.
Yeah.
Guys, you got organised 45 minutes too early,
Yeah.
right? We were kind of hoping that you wouldn't be organised for another week or so.
Yeah.
But half time, Tatsuoka, two goals.
Two of them.
So she might be playing up the pitch a bit.
Well, she just runs wherever she wants, I think.
Oh, well,
she goes for a
Quality
long
that
way.
Goes wherever she wants to do it. Michaela Hatsurodis
Got one.
got one, and
Tegan
Tegan
Riding.
Riding got the other. So
And that South team, a lot of those players played in the Diamond League last year. Same with Redlands.
very settled.
Yeah, both are, there's a few pickups with both teams, but most of the core is still there. So, good result for Redlands. Scary for the rest of the
hard to
competition.
judge South's performance.
I think if you nil all with Redlands after a half, you've got to be saying we did a half good. Now you just got to work it to 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So those were your games for last week.
We won't worry about a table because you only one round in, and
That's right.
half of them have got 3 points, and the other half don't.
That's right. No draws.
Yeah.
And obviously one still to be replayed. And coming up to the games this weekend, on Friday, 14th of March, 8:30 p.m. at Heath Park. The cameras will be out. They love getting to Heath Park. Do you reckon it's because they try and catch a glimpse of Lex in the crowd?
No.
No.
I think they're trying to get a glimpse of the good Donsky,
Which one?
the one playing for East.
Okay.
Yeah, the super presenter that we had on last year.
Courtney
The
Donsky.
The good Donsky.
So Heath Park, East take on Sunny Coast. Cameras will be out there. It's the only Friday night game for women's football. So, well, for
this week.
for the Q League. Yeah, for this week, sorry. Get out there and see it. But I think East lost, yes, they lost to the Gap. Not a big surprise. And honestly, hasn't Jeff lost to to the Gap nearly every time? The first game they play each year is a big loss to East, big loss to the Gap. And then somehow that turns his season around
Well, that has happened.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to turn his season around this year, but
It's only one game in,
Yeah.
but still, yes.
but at least he's got, I guess, in a sense, as coaches, you sort of go, oh, get the Gap game out of the road, and it's done.
Yeah.
Because we know that the Gap and Redlands are equality and
That's right.
most likely be the top two
I
teams.
think so.
Realistically, it'll be a real test for Sunny Coast.
It will be. I'm also a bit worried. I mean, 8:30 kickoff, finish 10:30, then a 2-hour drive, perhaps for some of them to get home. It's a bit,
A bit of a risk up that highway.
Yeah, I think so.
A bit tired, so I don't know. Maybe Sunny
Drive
Coast.
safe
NPL
if you are.
club, they got plenty of money. They could put the girls up.
Maybe
in
on the bus?
Novotel or somewhere. Novotel, we're looking for a sponsor up there. And
Nice plug.
anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
going
anyway,
for East.
you're going for East. I think East will get on, and it will be a much sterner test for Sunny Coast.
Yep.
So get out there. Cameras will be there. We'll talk about that again. We'll remind
They'll
everyone.
be on the Football Brisbane highlight show.
That's right. Saturday, 3 p.m. at Neil E. Robinson Park.
That's a mouthful, eh?
I don't know where it is.
It's in Toowoomba, I presume.
I'm
not sure.
Not sure. They haven't played out of there before, as far as I know. Well, the Raiders didn't. Southwest Queensland Thunder take on Palm Beach. Big game.
Battle of the kids, I think.
I
Young
think
players.
Palm Beach are a bit past that now, aren't they? They've been playing.
Well, they're still young,
Well, yeah, but
but they've got that 12 months experience
That's right.
on Southwest Queensland. So will that be enough to get over Southwest Queensland home ground advantage?
maybe they have special posts too.
I don't think they do,
Okay, good.
but they are a young side. So they had good support at Mitchie last week.
That's
People
right.
bringing them down. So I think they're going to have a really good crowd there.
That's good.
A lot of support for the girls. So Palm Beach will probably bring their own travelling supporters as well.
Well, yes. And
I think this will be a close game.
Really?
I think Palm Beach by
you
one.
think maybe because of the NPL system, they're both so alike and
Probably very similar styles. Southwest Queensland Thunder have got some experienced players
Yeah.
from the Raiders.
yes.
First game at home, pumped up, ready to play, could just catch Palmy by surprise a little. I think Palm Beach by one.
No,
I think it'll be
Palm
close.
Beach by 2 at least. I hope it's close. I always like a good close game. 5 p.m. AJ Kelly Park. Peninsula Power take on the Gap. Traditionally been a big game.
It has. I think Power are going to struggle this week.
I think so
I
too.
think the Gap have hit the ground running. The Gap have already played at Power with that Macron Cup earlier in the season, so they're used to the trip. They won that competition.
hmm
I think Power are in for a 0-2 start to the season.
Yeah, I think the Gap will win this one. I don't know when they will come up. We'll see. But I'll get the stats too on their unbeaten league streak because it's quite significant now.
Yeah, it's getting on a bit.
Yeah, it is. So I'm tipping the Gap there too.
I'm tipping the Gap as well. Rob and the girls.
Okay. At 5 p.m. at Elder Oval, Annerley take on Western Pride.
Now, this is the first game in double header at Elder Oval on Saturday night. So this will be the first time ever.
Yeah, well, when the NPL started, Olympic was basically an ex-Annerley sort of team and coach, and there's a lot of cooperation between the two clubs. So a lot of the games are actually being played at Elder Oval for Olympic, and that was the same with the junior NPL girls because they were originally part of Central Brisbane. Long story short, two women's
let's just keep going with the long one.
Two women's games at Elder Oval. First one, Annerley take on Western Pride because we're better in first, Annerley. And so let's talk about that one. Western Pride haven't played.
Yep. So we don't really know what they're like. I hope they've got enough players.
Yes.
And I hope Annerley take more than 11.
Well, the team below Annerley is not playing, but Kate Deegan's a quality player to replace, but obviously they'll need a long-term replacement for her. So a couple of weeks anyway.
I think Annerley, the fact that Annerley, even though they lost last weekend, the fact that they've already got a game under their belt, Western Pride haven't.
It also depends on the mindset you take out of a game where you've lost two players. Did they lift and play really good, or did Palm Beach?
I think you'd
pull the bit
from Annerley. You'd be going, well, Palm Beach finished third last year. Maybe it was a bit of an expectation to get a result down there early on. We know we've got to build up some game time into the legs of the girls. So perhaps losing wasn't unexpected, although you never go out there trying to lose.
No.
But you might have had your eyes a little bit on the second week, saying, well, this is our chance to pick up some points at
That's
home. against Pride. And the fact that Pride didn't play last week's a bonus for Annalee.
I think so too.
I'm tipping Annalee.
I'm tipping Annalee too. And 7 p.m. at Elder Oval.
Ex-Annalee are playing UQFC.
Olympic are playing UQ. And this will, again, UQ have had that game.
Olympic and a good win.
And a good win, that's true. It'll be much closer than... I think if Olympic... This is going to confuse me all year. If Olympic had actually played last week, it would have made a bigger difference. I'm thinking this one might actually be a draw. Just that bit of sharpness that UQ might have over Olympic here. Match fitness.
I'm going for UQ. I think UQ are a bit of a smoky in the competition. They've recruited well.
They have recruited well.
And if Chapman hits her stride, like she's only been training for a short time with UQ, once she gets into their system of play and Gibbons got them running where
do they still have the psychologist with them this year?
I haven't heard whether they do or not. I think UQ by 1. I think UQ are going to get off to a flyer with 2 wins from 2 matches.
Okay. Well, I'm tipping a draw there because of circumstances. 7 p.m, Jackspear Park, Taringa take on South United.
Oh, I think it's going to be a long, hard season for Taringa Rovers.
I really think so too.
If they don't pick up some quality players soon, I think they're going to struggle a little bit.
I think South will get this one.
I don't think it'll be a big score. No. Maybe South by 2, but I think the fact that Taringa scored last week will give them some confidence. Right. And if they can pick up somebody that can put it in the back of the net for them, I think they'll do all right.
They might, yeah.
But, losing 3-1 is still losing.
It is. Yeah. I think South will win this one too. And then the final game, Sunday, 2 p.m, Redlands at Cleveland Showgrounds take on Mitchelton.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting game.
Well, what's going to be interesting? How many goals Redlands score?
No, that won't be interesting. I won't be too happy if they score too many. Realistically, we know we're up against it against Redlands, last year's premiers, against a team that's first year in this league. So we know what it's going to be like. Yeah. It's going to be hard and they're going to be quick. Having said that, we do have people like Emma Pittman and Georgie Bridges and Summer Dixon in the middle of the park that have played Redlands before.
That's right.
So we've got, plus Danny Graham up front, so she's played them last year as well. So we've got players out there that know what they're like, so they know what to expect, so they can school the players a little bit on what to do. But having said that, knowing what they're going to do and stopping them from doing it, two different things. Yeah. So,
I mean, if the game plan, for example, was kick it to Messi, Lionel Messi, everyone knows that could be the game plan, but you still can't stop it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I of course, am going to pick my own team.
Well,
to snatch a win.
Otherwise, I'd call the investigators.
Yeah.
I'm tipping Redlands here.
I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if everyone else tips Redlands, but we've got to go with our own strengths.
Again, but South held them for 45 minutes. That's a decent achievement.
It's football.
Yeah.
We've got some quality players that can score goals, so we've only got to get one in and keep them out.
All right. Well, that's your lot for Jewel in the Crown this week. We'll mostly be focusing on the Q League this year, just because there's more teams and there's more games
and more to talk about.
When we get the chance, we'll dip our toe into those other divisions. It's always good to just round them up every now and then. There is a lot of interest in them, I think. Sometimes. Well, Div 3. Div 3 last year. We'll always be talking about Div 3 last year.
Well, we're talking about Div 3 this year because I helped me out a bit. But anyway, Greg, look, get out, watch some women's football on the weekend, watch the South East Queensland Premier League or the Q League or whatever you want to call it.
Get out to Heath Park on Friday. Get yourself in front of the camera.
Get yourself in front of the camera. Don't streak or anything like that, but just wave from the stands.
Wave from the stands and check out the highlights when they come on.
Carry your club sign down there so you get your club on
put it in
TV.
Put it in front of the, what is it, the Den? The Roller Door Cafe. Put it in front of that. Anyone who can put their own club sign in front of the Roller Door Cafe.
And get it on screen in the highlight show.
That's right. We'll
we
win
make
the
sure
prize.
the producer puts it on the show if someone gets a sign on there.
Yeah. That'll be great, actually. There's the challenge.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.